This is John Murphy at Murtech.com with your daily news update. Okay, here we go. On August the 17th, in the year of our Lord 2025, let's go ahead and click over here, Murtech on Rumble. This is the video that you're watching right now, my live stream, episode 1657. Let's jump into this and see what we have. This is the video that you're... All right. Hi, Debbie BS. Glad you could join us. All right, let me close out the live chat, slide down here and open the description box by clicking that show more. Folks, I got a lot of information in here. Number one, I've got a link to Murtech.com and my Rumble channel, of course, and a link here to Facebook. If you'd like to connect with me on Facebook or Truth Social or X, I've got all those links here. Also, if you want to donate to the cause, help keep free speech alive, join my local community. Also, audience submission. Okay, if you click on that, it's going to take you over here to this page, and you enter a display name like John, and hit next, and then there you are. You can record a message to me or whatever if there's something that you like or something that you don't like or something else that you'd like to see. Right there it is. Okay, so let me get back here. I invite you to do that. Okay, that's something that's pretty cool. All right, but for tonight, we got some information from Truth Bomb Mary. She always puts her titles in code, I guess, so that whoever can't decipher them very easily using AI. Anyway, death penalty for pedophilias, Idaho edition. For pedophiles, Idaho edition. Okay, some information from Wendy Bell Radio. Chicks on the right, MJTruth. So we've got a jam-packed show for you tonight. But before we get into that, I do want to give a shout out here to Timothy466, just started following my channel. Becky Slam just started following my channel. So thank you very much, folks, for following my channel. I greatly appreciate that. I hope you're watching, and I hope you enjoy the content. Okay, HJD Man 2 commented on my daily news wrap-up from last night. Real News DFW and Timothy466 commented on my episode 1656 from last night. Lightning Tree Brand replied to my comment on death penalty for pedophiles, Idaho edition. Now, that is Truth. Lightning Tree Brand is Truth Bomb Mary. Okay, so that's her channel. I left her a comment yesterday telling her that I was going to share her information today on Murtech.com, and I'm including it in my video tonight. Also, Viper Senior commented on my Extra 442C. So thank you very much for your comments, folks. I greatly appreciate your support, and I enjoy reading your feedback. So let me give this a thumbs up. Boom. There you go. There you go. All right, Truth Bomb Mary. Let's see what she has to say about death penalty for pedophiles in Idaho edition. We get this back to the beginning.
So this is cool. Idaho, yes, where we live, authorized the death penalty by firing squad for pedophiles. When I told Henrik this, he did not believe it, and then I had to go look it up, and there's
I still don't
government
believe it.
little statement on death penalty for pedophiles. He wanted to expand the statement for this House Bill 380 that was signed last week, allowing the death penalty for pedophiles. And he says, just like capital murder destroys lives, aggravated sexual abuse of a young child devastates victims and families for generations. The sexual abuse of children is sickening and evil, and perpetrators convicted of these crimes deserve the ultimate punishment. Idaho also just became the only in-cap state to make death by firing squad the primary method of execution.
You just reintroduced a bill where convicted pedophiles and child sexual predators would get the death penalty in certain states. Your quote, "The days of inaction against those who prey on children and sexually abuse adults are over. Pedophiles deserve the death penalty They deserve to rot in jail where they belong. No mercy, no escape.
Idaho Governor Brad Little signed House Bill 380. It strengthens punishments for convicted pedophiles. Members of the House and Senate say it was time for Idaho to catch up to other states and create stricter punishments for pedophiles.
This legislation ensures that those who commit the most severe offenses against children face significant consequences, sending a clear message that Idaho will not tolerate sexual abuse of our children.
Idaho is now the only state that would charge pedophiles with death by firing squad.
Well, here's another article from the out-of-touch leftards, the MSM morons, telling everybody, oh my God, look at this, Donald Trump, everybody. You can't vote for Donald Trump. He's planning on bringing back firing squads if he gets back in office. That's awesome. Holy hell, that's awesome. The lefty crybabies, oh my God, I can't believe that Donald Trump would use the firing squads on drug runners and pedophiles. That sounds awesome. That sounds awesome. Leave it to lefties. Continually stumping and promoting meth heads and drug addicts and sex traffickers. What's hilarious about this, so here you got the Rolling Stone, right? The people who work at the Rolling Stone are absolute pieces of shit. They're trash bag monsters. And of course, they would be upset about pedophiles being blasted. Listen, we're not saying, rev up your vigilante muskets and blast pedophiles. We're saying arrest pedophiles. Give them their due process. And, if it turns out that you are a massive drug trafficker or a kid fucker and you've been convicted by a jury and you've run out of all your appeals, then we're saying, well, listen, we're not going to sit there and pay for 80 years worth of you being in a prison system. It's the whole point of a firing squad over here. It's going to reinstitute firing squads for people who are raping small children. And the left-hand side is like, well, you can't do that. That's our base.
Before we went in to the execution room, they warned us that if the first round of shots doesn't fire, I'm going to have to fire again. And I don't know about the other. I think for a brief second, we were starting to wonder if that was going to happen because he kept moving.
That's pretty gruesome. Everybody leave.
First time.
Okay, there you have it. Let's click on the Rumble link here. Show you that this video does come from Truth Bomb Mary. I'm following the channel. I've given him a thumbs up, but that's interesting information. I don't know whether firing squad is better than lethal injection or the gas chamber or whatever. I don't know, but definitely pedophilias definitely need some harsh punishment. I think now anymore on in like California and some of these other states, they get a slap on the wrist. In fact, I think they're trying to make it legal, pedophilia in California. But with that being said, let's jump back here and see what we got next with Wendy Bell, Weekends with Wendy. Now, normally she starts off and has a lot of chit chat, but man, I'll tell you what, this weekend she jumped right into it. She definitely has some good stuff to say. I'm right here at
so many comments.
I'm at the 2 minute and 20 seconds
from you guys regarding the monologue on Friday when I was talking about my heart-stopping realization that 5 years ago when I didn't know better, I got Bob and Chris this Gardasil vaccine. I got so many comments. Michael posted it. Toolsy took a clip of it and put it on Instagram, and it went, and I was reading some of the comments. We have a wounded America right now. We have a very wounded country, and it's interesting watching this cleanup in DC, and the taking down of 70 homeless encampments, and the cleaning up of graffiti and just garbage, and safety and security and all of it. And it's just sort of like people are emerging, finally coming out of the bunker, and they're like, you know, what the flip the last administration did to this country is so indefensible. And I marvel watching. Brock, you posted that somebody, was it Jack Posobiec, who said Trump worked like 20 straight hours
Yeah.
on this trip to Alaska. Like, it wasn't just traveling to Alaska with Witkoff and Marco Rubio and meeting with Putin, and that almost 3-hour thing that happened, and then getting back on board Air Force One and coming back home. I was on the phone with NATO leaders and European allies and Zelensky and all of this stuff. And it's like, and Putin saying it never would have happened. It's exactly what Trump said. And it wasn't an ego thing. He wasn't saying it never would have happened. This war never would have happened because I'm such a hot shot. It never would have happened. And Putin echoing that. I thought that was the strongest part of the entire thing.
I think we're giving, because it's easy, it's the last 4 years that we all really collectively woke up, right? As a group. Before people say,
Well,
I
most
was
of us.
awake before that. Great. The majority of us in the last 5 years were not. And I think that to blame I'm going to take Joe Biden's side, who obviously was in the hedges, but I think we woke up to Joe Biden, but the real wake up is how much our government's lied to us our entire life. Not just the last 4 years, not just with the jab, that they've lied to us
About everything.
for generations. Not even obviously I'm 50, I'm going to be 50 my entire life. They've lied to me. So I can only imagine it goes back another 50 years. When's the last time our government worked for us? When's our last time our government worked in the interest of the people? I think that's ultimately, I think you're going to have people who are angry about individual things. But I think the collective is going to be angry at the government and how much they've lied to us. So it's just like, yeah, I mean, I can be angry about the shot, and you and I have this conversation where my mentality is you can't blame yourself for the lies other people have told you. You know, I think there's plenty of
Yeah,
blame
but
to go around.
if you continue to listen to them and continue to believe them,
Yes.
then you're culpable. But when you know, there's no way to not know anymore. Like, you can't put that
Well,
genie back in the bottle.
I think there's a lot of anger to go around. These doctors that are still pushing these vaccines. You know
Right.
what? At some point, you have to say, "I'm out." Like I get having a job and all that stuff. At some point, you need to say, "What's more important, the oath that I took to do no harm, or my paycheck?" Like, and I don't know if that's finding other doctors and saying, "Let's start something on our own. Let's get away from this. Let's make it." It I don't think this is right. Let's break away from the system. Let's make it affordable. Let's make these things affordable. And I
You
know
know
it's
what's
easy for
interesting?
me just to say that, but
You know what's interesting to me is that Trump is a giant trap to them because of their crazy derangement and to oppose everything that he does. He's literally pigeonholed the Democratic Party to become now the party of anti-peace. Anybody who comes out and says what was accomplished in Alaska as in the opening to what is going to hopefully happen to end this war and end the killing. You know, anybody who comes out against that, Susan Rice, right? What did she say? That
She said
Putin
that the
probably
dropped a bug. Like, really? Like, that's what you think? Like, you
that
don't think they
Putin
swept?
that
Come on.
Putin and bugged the presidential limousine. Okay, I mean,
The good news about that is that I have a friend who is he watches the news just like everyone else, and he was telling me that he was watching CBS, and they were talking about the trip, what do you call it, the summit, and he's like, I'm watching their coverage, and they're saying all this negative stuff, but they're not giving me like what was actually said.
mhm,
Everything was body language, and Putin's
right.
smarter than Trump. He's like, he goes, I turned it off. Like, it was so ridiculous. And I'm like, that's really good to hear. And he's like, why? I said, because you have a life outside of here. You tune into the news to see it. Now you're seeing it. I told him, I says, please don't take this the wrong way. You're the average American. And the average American, to me, is starting to see the bullshit.
Sorry, guys, it was smudgy. Yeah, sorry.
They're starting to see this bullshit, and like I was like, you're the prime example. You watch maybe 30 minutes of news a day, and you're seeing it. I think they're seeing all the. We've all had this conversation. Wendy and I had it this morning about. Here you go. You have the liberals fighting against peace, fighting against safe streets, basically saying, no, take more of my money for taxes. What? No. Let's defend the pedophiles and the illegal immigrants. Like, what side are you on? Like, at some point, even the most ridiculous person that of the 30% that we know is never going to see the opposite side. You're having the people in the middle who go, I just want to leave me alone, going, oh boy, what the hell's
How
going
about
on? These people are for not safe streets. Don't clean up the streets.
Rob Dog 51? Absolutely right. Russia is not our enemy, and Ukraine was never an ally, just a bank account for money laundering. I have really big, and I will tell you this because when I was signing up with Newsmax, which was right as this war is going on, they fly me out to do 2 nights of Grant Stinchfield's show before he moved on. And this war was just breaking out, and all of the people were like, Putin's a monster, going bananas. And I was standing back going, And one of the news anchors looked at me and was like, Wendy, you're kind of new. I don't hear you chiming in. Are you a Putin puppet? Like, literally that early. And I was like, what? I'm like, we have no idea what's going on, but it's curious how everybody's jumping on one side. I'm like, why? Why would you do that? And they looked at me like, and I was a real outcast. I'm in their green room waiting for the makeup babe to put the fake eyelashes on me, right? And I'm like, I'm just not gonna, I have nothing to say. I'm just watching right now and seeing what's going on. It was wild. And I was like, I'm sure Putin has a million things that are wrong with him, like we all do. But I've never looked at him in this regard as being some murderous monster. He was pushing back against something that he had given Ukraine and everybody else a million warnings about. And they kept pushing the land and pushing this and pushing that. And he was like, I'm done. I mean, does that justify killing millions of people or whatever the final tally is? I mean, no, we could have that debate. But if you weren't down hard on Putin the whole time, you were a puppet. And I'm like, wow, this is Brock. Do you remember me coming home and being like,
Yes. Bob Sellers. It's Bob Sellers.
it was Bob Sellers?
The problem is
I was like, oh my God.
the hypocrisy of Americans, right? He's killed millions of people. So is our government. So is our government. There, it's Russian propaganda. Well, what is ABC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC, NBC? What are they? We now know that they're propaganda. So, like in my eyes, to step back and be like, should we really be criticizing Putin? I mean, I don't know much about him. I can honestly say I'm not Russian. I don't follow it. But like, what I do know is our closet's full. Our closet is full of skeletons
Why do you
and
think
full of lies.
why do you think so many countries viscerally hate the United States and then do things to terrorize the American people? It's not because they hate you and me. It's because our government has effed around so much in other countries and has, staged color revolutions and has inserted new leaders and has thwarted and subverted the will of their own people, all the while like wrapping their arms around our Constitution as though this is a threat to democracy. I'm like, no, you are the threat to democracy. It's not all this other stuff. It's very basic. It's very basic. And if they don't pull the plug on it and absolutely cut the head off the snake and eradicate it, I don't know. This just has the chance to regrow like the freaking weeds in my yard before I hit them with dead brew.
Product placement. This ad brought to you by.
By the way, I did yesterday in the yard, so I'm going to go out after this and see how everything's doing. Yes.
So it's. I think it's the countries that preach the most. The Canadas will protect you.
France.
They're all of them. Our own politicians. Donald Trump's the only one sitting there going. I feel like he's the only, and I don't even put him in the politician category, that hasn't lied to us. Like the rest of them, like, if I see Dick Blumenthal and Lindsey Graham in a press conference talking about Russia and Ukraine, I'm going to throat punch somebody. And it's probably going to be, Dick Blumenthal and Lindsey Graham. Like, you people are actively fighting against American interests. Period. Like, you got to love Trump where he's just like, stop the killing. How can you not get behind liberals? I don't understand how they all want to say, the save the kids, the trans kids, but Trump comes out and says, let's stop the killing in Ukraine. They're like, oh, you're a Putin puppet. It makes absolutely no sense. He's, they all need it.
Okay, I'm going to pause that right there. But before we go on, I want to share some information here with you from NFL Tune. Let's jump over here.
Set your clocks, mark your calendars, and buckle up for the best NFL primetime football action.
Starting September 4th on Westwood One, you can catch all the bone-crushing hits, last-second heroics, and edge-of-your-seat action that NFL Thursday, Sunday and Monday nights have to offer.
Whether you're tailgating, driving, or chilling at home, don't miss a single snap.
Listen on the NFL app, the Westwood One Sports app, at westwoodandsports.com, or just say, Alexa, open Westwood One Sports.
If it's the NFL, it's on Westwood One.
Okay, there you have it, folks. Let me click on this Rumble link here and show you that this video comes from Wendy Bell. I'm following her channel, and I've given her a thumbs up. Now, if I have some time at the end, I mean, they just go on and on about such great stuff. I'm telling you, it's absolutely amazing. So let's come back here and listen to Chicks on the Right. They had a pretty good guest with them today, from laid off to viral. Cruise Control, that's the name of this guy's handle on, I think, Instagram and Twitter. Cruise Control on haters, fame, and being a conservative black man. This was pretty interesting. So let's go ahead.
Welcome to
and
another
take a listen
episode of the
here.
Chicks. Welcome to another episode of the Chicks on the Right podcast. Very excited. We have a very special guest today. You might recognize him, but you might not know his name. And it is Dwayne Maynard, who goes by Cruise Control on his socials. And you went viral, what was it, like several weeks ago with a video that you did about the LA protests. And that was the video that we got introduced to you with. And we were blown away. We showed it to our audience. It completely went gangbusters. Everybody fell in love with you. And now you are exploding as a content creator yourself. So we want to know, how did this happen? What is your background? Who is Dwayne Maynard?
So I'm just a guy with a phone. Yeah, so that video went viral in, I think it was June. And the only reason why it went viral is because of Mr. X himself, Elon Musk. So he actually took a video from another creator that posted the video who didn't tag me because she didn't know my socials. So she posted
That happens
it.
a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So she posted it, and then I guess he took it, and then next thing I know, my phone's blowing up 6 a.m. like, hey, Elon posted you. Elon posted you. I'm like, what? So
It's a good person to be reposted by, is Elon.
Yeah, no big deal. Whatever.
It's just Elon Musk, Yeah. So here you are. So okay. First of all, I got to get this out of the way. I heard you're a Georgia Bulldogs fan.
I am.
Mock is a huge Bulldogs. She sleeps with a bulldog. I do. Not like a bulldog, but a bulldog fan.
And I started to wear a Bulldog shirt too.
Oh my God! That would have
been twinsies.
I would have probably
we would have hated to
imploded.
gang up on you.
Right, because I'm a volunteer, so I would have been like, okay, enough. We can't have that. But anyways, I just wanted to get that out of the way. You guys can have your little niceties with your bulldog, your little dog woofing thing that you do. And then I also wanted to see, you describe yourself not as a Gen Xer, but what generation do you fall into? What are you? Are you like
so
a
Zennial? I'm 82. That's considered, I guess, a Zennial.
Okay, a Zennial.
Like
so you
bottom of Gen X with the top of Millennial.
I was going to say, because you have a lot of Gen X sensibilities about you, I feel like, because we're Gen Xers. And so when I saw you, I was like, this guy's got to be like, you look like you have a baby face, but you have the sensibilities. You do, but you have the sensibilities of a Gen Xer. And so in the way that you talk and the way that you look at the world, it seems like it's very Gen X-y. It's kind of similar.
That just comes from common sense, I think. And my parents, I mean, they were born in 60, so I don't think that a lot of my my ideals and viewpoints come from the lower end of millennial, I guess you could say.
Yeah. So I was just do you think that over the past like 20 years, because when we were growing up, like race relations, for instance, I felt like when I was growing up in the 80s and 90s, things were pretty good in this country. I felt like it was anyway. I grew up in Atlanta, and I felt like, things are pretty good. I feel like my country's awesome. There's like a sense of national pride. I feel like the economy's pretty decent. Maybe it's because I was just jaded. I don't know, but I felt like things are all right. And then I feel like in the past, since we've been doing this for the past 17 years, specifically probably in the past 10, there's just like, I don't know, things just kind of seem suckier now than they did. You know what I mean? Than they did in the 80s. Like, we look back at the 80s and 90s and we are wistful. Like, we think things were really great back then. I wish we could go back to those days. Do you think that we're looking at it like through rose-colored glasses, or do you think things were really better back then?
I mean, I can't really speak for anyone. Speaking for myself, but I can't really speak about the 80s like that. I mean, 'cause I was born in 82.
Right.
So
like 90s, early 2000s. What do you think? Do you think things were better?
I think things were better back then. I know everyone wasn't as sensitive back then.
Right. Like politically incorrect, politically correct, stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, you grew up in Atlanta. So I spent time in Atlanta too.
Yeah.
So my parents we bounced around a lot. So my dad was in the military. I'm an Army brat, as everyone already probably knows. We ended up moving to Atlanta from California in 98. I think it was 98, 99 or something like that. So I spent the rest of my high school years in Atlanta. And after high school, I went to vocational school in Atlanta, well, in South Georgia. And then when I was done with that, I just decided I was going to go back to California.
Yeah. So what were you doing before you were doing this? I mean, are you still like working in another job, or what was your background?
No. So I'm not working in another job right now. I'm stay-at-home dad full time.
Okay, awesome.
So I was working with a medical supply company out in California. I don't go into that too much because
That's okay.
because of legalities and things like that. So I can't really talk about a lot of it. But yeah, so I was doing that for a while.
So what prompted, I mean, like, what was the day that you were like, man, I have got some stuff to say and I'm going to say it into my phone. I'm going to post it. Like, what was the first thing that made you do that?
The day I got laid off. That'd be honest
Okay.
with you. So it was that day. And I just ranted into my phone. And then my girlfriend Brittany, so she's just like, you need to post something. So I was like, I'm not gonna do that. So because I'm an introvert.
Right.
100%. I'm not an extrovert whatsoever. I mean, even like doing this, like it feels live, even though I know it's not.
Right.
So it's just like, okay,
And
so
it took coaxing. I will say it took a lot of coaxing to get you to do this too. You're like, I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know if I feel comfortable.
It
Right.
did because like when I was talking to you, Daisy, in the beginning, I told you like it was Brittany who was like, no, you need to go ahead and do it.
You should totally, yeah. And it gets easier. Each one of them gets easier. And so listen, we were talking before we got on our podcast today, like when you do hit the really, really big time and you surpass us and you're like on all these shows, you get to go all these fancy dinners, just remember us, all right? Because that happens quite a bit where people will surpass us. We'll have them on our show. They'll surpass us. And then they don't ever look in the rearview mirror.
And I don't even know where this is going or where it's going to take me. But my thing is like, okay, just let go and let God. That's how I look at it.
Right. That's how you
and
should do it.
You have been absolutely exploding in popularity. I mean, I know you're growing on all the platforms, and I don't know if it's what you're saying. I mean, I'm sure it's a combination of what you're saying and how you're saying it and who you are saying it. One of the things I've noticed, and I'm sure you've already experienced this, even though you're relatively new into the whole, having all of this popularity that's come on suddenly, but you're probably getting a lot of naysayers and you're probably experiencing hate because it happens to all of us.
Yeah.
What has been, how have you responded to that? Because I know some of it has to do with your, you like to drop the F-bombs, as do we from time to time. And you've been tone policed and I've seen you get tone policed.
Yeah.
What's been the hardest sort of hate that you've had to deal with? And not only how are you dealing with it, but how is Brittany dealing with that?
Well, I would say Brittany is just, taking it with a grain of salt. She's my rock. So, and she always has been. She doesn't really, she just laughs at some of the stuff, or, and if there's something that does bother her, she'll go and respond. And I'll just leave it at that. But if it's something that is towards me, I really don't I just kind of brush it off.
Yeah, that's probably smart.
But if it's like, if it's something that really digs at me, and they catch me on at the right time, you're gonna get a response from me. But I mean, other than that, it's just like I don't deal.
You can always use it for fodder too. If you can use it to your advantage, we've done that over the years too. You get a new pair of shoes over it. That's always a good thing.
I mean, I've used some comments too as content.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's all it is. Like you guys are just giving me content, and you just don't even know it.
Yeah, especially with the hate.
And I've said before, like, you're my unpaid street team. Like that's what it is.
Right. So there's a lot of people I would imagine too, kind of along that same vein, who don't think that you should exist. Because I mean, I won't categorize you because I don't even know if you call yourself a conservative. I think you're just a person with common sense, which I think automatically falls into the conservative category these days. Because there's a lot of
Right.
people on the left who are just like, we're going to cut genitals off of kids, and we like crime, and we want illegals coming in the country, blah. So a lot of the stuff that they're doing just is not common sense. So I think it just kind of by default you end up on the right side of the aisle. But I would imagine there are a lot of people that are like, but wait, you're a black guy. And like, kind of like you're women. You're not supposed to be conservative. If you're
Right.
Hispanic, you're not supposed to be conservative. If you're gay, you're not supposed to be conservative. We get that all the time.
That's why I
we have
don't understand that at all.
right? It's crazy. And that's what we saw. There was a woman that was talking the other day that I love it when my Mac does that. But when there was a woman talking the other day on the podcast, which I will not name, but she's just this heinous, liberal, elitist, white lady who thinks she's speaking for everybody, saying that we cannot, or people should not, we should not be able to engage in businesses like Mexican restaurants. We shouldn't have our hair cut by a gay hairdresser. We shouldn't do all of these things because for some reason we're conservative. And I guess she believes that there aren't black conservatives, there are not women conservatives, they're not Hispanic conservatives, they're not. She just doesn't understand because a lot of these liberals think that they make the rules and that all of these different flavors of conservatives or just regular people don't exist. And that's always irritated us for 17 years. We've been like, we're I guess we thought we were the anomaly, but we're not, because there's tons of conservative women, there are tons of black conservatives, there are tons of Hispanic conservatives. So I'm sure that probably irritates you, and I bet that there are people that are coming to you now saying, but you can't be what you say you are.
I mean,
know?
I think that's a crock of shit, but excuse
right.
my friend.
It is a crock of shit.
But
yeah.
Because I look at it like this. Now, if people only realize how many black men there are that are conservative or Republican, the tide would totally shift.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
That's what I believe.
Yeah.
Do you think that that's still the case? I mean, because obviously with the last election, there was a pretty significant growth in the number of black, particularly men, who were supporters of Donald Trump. Do you think that's going to hold, or do you think that's just a Trump phenomenon? Do you think there's going to be that same level of enthusiasm, for example, for a potential J.D. Vance if he's next in line as the nominee?
So I don't think it's just a Trump phenomenon at all.
Good.
I think that once people start to realize and start to open their eyes, then they'll start to see the future that can happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I hope you're right. Oh my God.
Gosh, I really do too. because I think that, especially with creators like you, and there are lots of other people who don't look like and act like and sound like what I think that they have stereotyped conservatives to be. And we were like that too 17 years ago. I mean, when we came onto the scene, they were like, wait, you're not supposed to look like that because white women are supposed to be liberals, right? I mean, that's
okay. I'm going to go ahead and pause that there. Now, this is fun. Chicks on the Right, I used to listen to them on the radio. I don't know if they're still on the radio because I don't listen to that much. I'm not traveling back and forth to work, but they were on WIBC here in Indianapolis. They started out here in Indianapolis. Okay, I'm going to share this with you here. This is my video channels page, Chicks on the Right, and this is the introduction to their videos, okay? Let me...
Sir, poached egg lady. God rest her soul.
Back to the beginning here for you. This is kind of cute.
Acting like you speak for the people of the of the state of Indiana or the city of Indianapolis. You do not speak for me or anyone I know. Now listen, you two jerks. Jerks on the right.
Okay. There we go. That's how they start out their program on Rumble every day, Monday through Friday. They don't do a weekend on Rumble. They drop some tidbits over on YouTube, and I pick that up through the weekend. But okay, here let's jump back here. Let me show you here. that this video does come from Chicks on the Right on YouTube. I am subscribed to their channel. I've given them a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. All right, let's jump back here and see what MJTruth has to say. MJTruth has to say on Bhattacharya, the NIH Director, insists that jailing those responsible. Okay, he's talking about the COVID, the whole COVID situation here. So let me get into this and let's hear what he has to say.
And 95% vindicated you and the other leaders of your death cult, particularly as it relates to COVID case rates tied to severity of lockdowns, right? Stuff that you guys were very, very early on. That's fine for a couple professors to put out that book and show up on my favorite podcasts. But there has not yet been like a corresponding something remotely resembling like a mea culpa in which the public would see, okay, they are at least willing to take some accountability. But again, I understand, I'm sure politically, policy-wise, you don't want to endlessly be relitigating the past, but it also doesn't feel like there has been proper accountability taken yet.
The thing is like people's lives are still affected, right? Kids whose schooling has been delayed for years, that may be permanent, where they have long-term effects, psychological harm, depression, drug abuse. All these things are lingering effects of the decisions made during the pandemic. And of course, the fact is that all of those measures, if you look at Sweden, they did better than we did by far. They had actually almost no excess mortality through the entire pandemic. It's incredible. Best in Europe, and they didn't do the lockdowns. So the question is like, what can we do to fix things, right? So I think the constructive thing is, let's make plans for the next time that are more human, that take into account the lessons we learned. To me, the most important thing isn't, put people in jail or whatever. I don't think that'll fix things. Right. I think the most important thing is, if we have signals that there's viruses afloat, new viruses afloat, we have lots and lots of tools to try to understand them better, to address them, to develop countermeasures. All of that biological stuff is great. We should keep doing some of that. Not all of it, some of it. What we don't have is a social structure that responds to that information in a rational way. It's very clear that our societies are prone to panic. And when we panic, we sacrifice children, we sacrifice the poor, we sacrifice the working class. And so we have to structure our pandemic response plans to not ever do that again.
All right. So let me go ahead and click on the Rumble link. That was, he's the NIH director, and he's got to be careful about the way he talks. But I know that he does not agree with the way things were handled during the last pandemic, and I don't think that if the Trump administration is in charge, because Fauci's no longer there, Dr. Quacky. No, it is Dr. Quacky, not Dr. Fauci. But let me click on this Rumble link and show you that this video does come from MJTruth. I'm following the channel. I've given him a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. But folks, that was a major scheme. If you take a look back, everything with Russiagate, and then the quid pro quo call with Ukraine, impeachment. And Adam Schiff was right there. You could see the clip. You could look it up on C-SPAN. Adam Schiff was right there in Congress lying about what was said on that phone call with Zelensky. Trump released the transcripts of that phone call, and what he said was nothing like the actual transcripts. He flat out lied. But of course, you can do that in Congress. You can lie your intercoursing ass off and not be held accountable for anything. That is amazing. Okay, and then the plandemic to shut everything down in the country, people being out of work, raise the national debt because they shelled out trillions of dollars to pay people to stay home. It was unbelievable. And then, of course, the laptop from hell from Hunter Biden, that was Russian disinformation. 51 previous intel officers signed that letter. Are you saying that every one of those 51 intel officers had a chance to review the information on Hunter's laptop? No. But the mainstream media pushed it like it was true, like they knew what the frick they were talking about. Unbelievable. But that's what we have, folks. That's what we have with the deep state swamp. Okay, and now they're scurrying. Will they be held accountable? Will they suffer any consequences? I don't know. I don't know. I hope they do. Because if they don't, it will just continue to happen. It will just continue to happen. Utterly amazing. Okay, what I'm going to do here, because we do have some time left, about 14 minutes, I'm going to jump back here. Wendy Bell, Weekends with Wendy. Let me click on this and see if we can get in there where we left off. Yep, and let's listen to some more of this. Okay, let me pause this. For some reason the audio's not coming through, so let me jump back here. Okay, I'm going to jump back here and start this off from within my description box. Okay, Wendy Bell Radio, right here. Let me get this link. Now, I've checked it on my phone. I could hear it on my headgear, but when I checked it on my phone, I didn't hear any audio come through on that video. Let's hope we can finish this up with Wendy Bell. Okay, I'm still not getting the audio like I should, but I think that, and I don't know what this is with. I mean, this is this is Rumble's, I don't know, closed caption. All right, so let me get it back here, and I'm going to refresh Rumble so you'll get a blank screen here for a second. That seems to work to cause the audio to come out on these videos. So okay, I'm back. Let me try this again and see if we can get the yeah.
will know.
You're a Putin puppet. It makes absolutely no sense. He's, they all need hit with a bag of Durbans.
I want to know what they have on Hillary. Because she came out. What did she do, Brock? Let's find that. Did you send it to me?
She said, I don't think I said. She said if Trump comes out of
secures a deal
with Ukraine, he deserves the Nobel Peace Prize.
Pardon. I made you out of clay. Pardon.
I'll be nice to you. Oh yeah, oh you're great. Hey, you know that investigation? Remember how great you are? You know that investigation? They tell you you're great. You're a really fantastic person.
The real tide will know has turned when it's not just the guests who are brought on CNN and MSNBC who talk logically and truthfully about these processes, right? Who are like, this is a big deal. Trump is doing a big thing. He's secured peace in these other countries. This is a huge development. This is a giant story. When you start hearing Jake Tapper and Anderson Cooper and Nicole Wallace, whose husband, I didn't know this, is the Michael Schmidt or whatever his name was, Eric Schmidt, I don't remember what his first name was, who's the New York Times reporter to whom Adam Schiff Adam Schiff leaked all those details to the guy who went out and won a Pulitzer Prize, right?
The guy who's married to Nicole Wallace on NBC, who she has on as a guest and doesn't disclose that she's married to him, but talks about him like he's a security expert. Yeah, him.
Who's the real threat? When I was in television, local television, you weren't even allowed to go up on the third floor. Our newsroom was on the second floor. The TV studio was on the second floor. Sales and all of the traffic, all of the sales, marketing and all that was up on the third floor. You guys weren't allowed to commingle. Now everybody's just sleeping together and it's a giant orgy, and they're just spawning, such an obfuscation of the facts and the truth. It's despicable. And so I have this thing in my mind. I'm like, are the media active and willing co-conspirators? Do they know what they're doing? And they wrap it under this bubble of doing good because there's nothing more important than stopping Trump. Do they know they're doing it, or are they just stupid? And they're being fed stuff that they go out and run with. I believe it's the former. I think it's purposeful when I hear Nicole Wallace. And then you see all of the other people who are married to other people in the Biden administration and the Obama administration, and their spouse is,
was it Rod
whatever.
Rosenstein's wife or Andrew McCabe's wife was running for office and got donations from Hillary. So then he had to, what the hell was going down before someone dug into that? And someone said John Brennan's saying the same thing. Of course he is. They're looking for any way out they can, because now their only options, and they're sort of, if I was to guess, this is Brock's tinfoil hat, they're trying to figure out among themselves who might flip first, what information they have on them, and should I flip before they do? I think that's what this is all about. Who's going to flip first? That's who's going to flip first. And they're all jockeying, and they're all trying to figure out, because they're all pieces of shit, and they're trying to figure out who's the bigger piece, who's the pile, not the piece, who's the pile, and who's going to flip. So do I flip before them and get my immunity, or do I wait? How many of them are waiting right now to see if those pardons aren't going to be good? And then there's certain people that have no out. Adam Schiff, no out. He has no out. He's
regardless of
doubling and
what they get
tripling
him
down.
on, regardless of what they get him on, they're going to get him on something, and it's going to cost him his Senate seat. It's going to cost him his political career. It's going to cost him something financial, but it's the asterisk next to his name in the World Book Encyclopedia. Disgraced. That's what it's all going to say. Disgraced. And by the way, that's going to be your legacy. Your legacy is all of that. I was asking my dad about this. He he had no idea. This is California. This is a guy who's lived in California for 50 years, okay? And 45. And I asked him, like, he was telling me about how the state is just so effed. And he's like, we've got a legislature, we've got a General Assembly that's just so beyond, and they spend and they waste and the fraud and all of it. And I'm like, interesting. I'm like, yeah, like Scott Wiener. And he goes, who? And I went, you're one of your state senators who's the sexual deviant nightmare who thinks it's okay if you have HIV to infect somebody knowingly and only be charged with a misdemeanor. That shouldn't rise to the occasion of a felony. Or if you want to bang a 16-year-old and give him $100, well, in some places we consider that pedophilia and child rape synonymous. But in California, it's like, well, just try not to do it again. And my dad had no idea. I'm like, I know more about the state government than the people who are there because it's not covered there. They're not paying attention to it. They're not paying attention to it. It's just everybody's bailing. And then they're going to bail and they're going to take their shitty Democrat values to Texas or to Idaho or wherever. Like people, I don't want these people in my neighborhood. Don't leave California and come where I live. Like you're almost you're contagious. Stay away.
John says Schiff is the key. They will flip him and he'll fold like a lawn chair and give up the rest. I don't think they're going to let him flip. That's my theory. I think if Trump has a personal vendetta, against anyone,
it's Schiff.
It's him. And ultimately, yes, Trump probably has the final say. Kash Patel wants to take him down. Kash Patel more than anyone else.
He's like this much of his book.
Yes.
Government gangsters.
When you say this guy is the most corrupt person in 250 years, 250, no, and you have the goods not to take him down would be a huge mistake. A huge mistake. And someone said, well, we haven't seen any arrests yet. Well, now we know. All these people are in bed together somehow.
Mm-hmm.
They're all in bed together. So of course they're not going to prosecute your own. Do I think the Democrat Party is united? I don't. I mean, how could you? How could you? They can't decide if they want a socialist, a communist.
The Democrat,
when you have people getting behind Mondami or whatever his name is,
or who's that weird Somali guy or whatever the guy is.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and pause that there, folks. All right, I'm 23 minutes into this 1 hour and 8 minute Wendy with Weekends video. Great stuff. Okay, and as I showed you before, I am following her channel. I've given her a thumbs up. I hope you do the same thing for me. Okay, let's jump back here. And let me remind you, folks, that these videos come directly from the producers, okay? I'm just sharing this information out, putting it together in a nice little neat package for you. I have the links to the videos that I shared with you and the links to the channel. So, in other words, MJTruth, if you click the link here, guess where it's taking you? MJTruth. Amazing. It's like magic. Okay, now, let me, I do want to give, this here is a promo that Rumble has given me that I want to share with you here before I wrap this up. It's a little quickie here on in NCAA sports.
The countdown is over. The rivalries are real, and the road to the championship begins on August 23rd.
Westwood One Sports brings you every electrifying moment of NCAA football, from the first snap to the final whistle.
Top teams, big plays, unforgettable Saturdays. Don't miss a second of the action.
Listen to NCAA football on rumble.com, the Westwood One Sports app, on westwoodonesports.com via Westwood One station streams, or by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports.
If it's sports, it's on Westwood One.
God bless, folks. Good night.